Sit back and relax while I listen to Train Kickers podcast. I'm Dave, and along with my co-hosts Stan and Steve, we're going to take you all around the world of miniature wargaming. On tonight's episode, we get to the final Legion for Horus Heresy, so we're going through the Alpha Legion. That means at this point, once this is released, we've at least talked about every Legion. We've done almost all the Rites of War. We were able to record the Alpha Legion Rites of War with it, so that's going to release on Saturday at the time of this recording. It's the 20th of October. We still have to go back and do the Word Bearers as well as Raven Guard. Although through our discussion last night, we might save Raven Guard for the moment because one of the Rites of War, they can take units that essentially just don't have rules yet. And we'd like to have that before we talk about it because it gives a more informed discussion. Otherwise, we'd honestly really have to go back and re-record it. This means that to this point, we can actually now talk about some other things or kind of branch out from where we're going to go. And I believe we had that conversation actually on the end of the podcast where we talk about that. All right, and now on to the show. All right, and on tonight's recording, we are going through the last and final Legion that has unfortunately eluded us for quite some time to be able to get to, but we're going through the 20th Legion tonight. What? Yeah, a little pun intended there. The Alpha Legion. Just as we've done for all the other legions, we are going to be going through everything about them. We'll be doing the Rites of War in a separate video that I hope releases shortly after this. We got a little bit behind on releasing a few of those, but we're going to get to those. As well as the Primarch, we're going to be saving for a little bit, but we will be getting back to the Primarch as well. All right. So at this point then, Dan said that he would take the Fluff because this was one of the legions he was going to start before he decided
Actually,
not to do such a thing.
Technically, I did start because I bought
You
them.
bought some stuff and then you sold
them.
it. You sold it the day it came in.
Yes,
I'm not counting that.
So the 20th Legion, probably, in my opinion, one of the more cooler ones. Mostly because technically they're traitor. I mean, in the 40k verse, they're traitor, obviously. But during the Horus Heresy, they were very much... They're
There's
weird.
a book that explains it. The book Legion explains it.
Yeah, explains it. I don't want to. I don't know if I should spoil it. It's so old that I could spoil it, I guess.
So keep it to a minute.
Exactly.
And if someone cares, skip a minute forward.
No, don't even worry about it. I won't even spoil. But point is, Alpha Legion, they're kind of their Legion trait or their Legion thing is that they are covert conspiracy kind of. I wouldn't say backstabbing, but plans within cogs within cogs, kind of planning way ahead of time. These guys are the informants. These guys are the spies. And they even have models to represent as such, like the Saboteur. These guys technically sided with the War Master. So technically, but there were some that actually went loyalist. It's honestly, their pursuant is their own goal, is essentially what it is. What's really cool about these guys, though, is that they also have two Primarchs. Or do they? No, but they have two Primarchs. They have Alpha, Farius, and Omegan. We're not sure which one died, because it's, again, very much like we're not sure. But the cool lore behind that is that he literally hides with his Marines. Like, he's not tall like the Primarchs. He's not flashy like the Primarchs. He's kind of just he blends in. It's the whole entire joke or the meme of I am Alfarius. They're just, it's lying, obfuscation, just plans within plans. That's essentially their Legion.
Dan didn't want to spoil the book, but I will. So if it matters to you, skip a minute ahead. In the book Legion, I mean, there's tons of story, but I won't go through that. But they say that at the end, they find out through seers and mystics and all that kind of stuff that essentially, if the Emperor wins, that the 40k universe is going to be what it is, essentially destitute and destroyed and awful. But if Horus wins, shortly after, some amount of time after, I forget how long they said, but essentially he's going to hate what has happened and he's going to destroy humanity, which is what's going to destroy the Chaos Gods, for all intents and purposes. So they side, at least from that vantage point out of the book, that they side with Horus, not because they believe in his vision, but because it is, in their mind, the best path for humanity. Okay, so that gives us a little bit of their background. We can go on to their traits, because they technically have two. I think I'll take the first one just because it's short and it's very simple, and then I think you guys might have more to say about the other one. So I'll start here with this one then. So their first trait is lies and obfuscation. So a model with this special rule is always considered to be 2 inches further away than it actually is when you measure the range to it from any model for the purposes of shooting, charging, or reactions declared by an enemy model or a unit. It's cumulative with any other modifiers to range imposed by special rules, such as night fighting or war gear and all of that. So essentially, whatever distance they are, it's always two further is what you're doing. As it says, it stacks with night fighting. So night fighting says you can't shoot beyond 24 unless you have certain war gear or special rules. Which means if you were 23 inches away from them, they're counting you as 25. You're outside of that range. It says for charges as well. So your charges are always two more that you need to make. This is one of the more subtle Legion traits, I think, overall, but it is exceptionally strong. It's not a big distance. There's absolutely cases where this is meaningless. If you have your big guns, your big guns usually have plenty of range. That's not going to matter. It matters for, I think, a lot of spots, such as getting into rapid fire ranges, your charges, some special reactions or reactions in general, because some people's reactions require you to be within, say, 10 inches if you're an Imperial Fist to be able to do their charge back, or 12 inches sort of thing when you're a Space Wolf doing this other thing. Some people's reactions care about distances, so that makes a huge difference. Certain weapons care, and then obviously charging is more difficult otherwise. I don't know if anyone has any further thoughts.
I mean, no, it's just I've seen this. I mean, one of my favorite things is difficult terrain. People are like, oh, it's -2 to charge through difficult terrain, right?
Yeah.
But no, this is now -4 with them, which is a big thing.
Oh yeah,
Like
that's basically
yeah,
deleting one die off the roll.
yeah.
Statistically, it's a little better than just dropping a die off the roll.
It reminds me of I know in 40K, I don't know if they still have this. I haven't played. God, I haven't played Custodians in 40K in a long time. Yeah, I think a year now. But they used to have a strategy called Tanglefoot, which was just remove a D6 from the charge distance, and if you rolled a 4 or better, it was really good because it was like that was a good 4 inches away from their charge. So this is just you don't roll; it's just straight. If you're in difficult terrain, it's a -4 to charge, which is that's nuts. That's insanity.
Oh, but it gets better because this stacks with shroud bombs.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Which is obviously a war gear piece that they want to have. And anything that can obscure and do all that kind of stuff is something they absolutely want.
Oh yeah.
An 8-inch range differential is insane when it comes to rapid fire.
Or with multi-meltas. It's just anything. Just
Yeah.
it's insane. Yeah.
I didn't even think about melta guns. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. As we said, they have two parts there. Sorry, there's a little bit of an awkward pause where Zencaster's a little more sensitive than what we normally use. They do have a second part. Who wants to take that?
You know I'm all about the treachery.
Dude, you are about the treachery. Tell us about the rewards. Why it's a good thing to be so treacherous.
Oh yeah. Well, you see, when you have the rewards of treachery, someone else is treacherous, and you reap the rewards. Essentially, this rule boils down to this: you pick a Space Marine Legion that's not Alpha Legion. You go, I'm going to take the Space Marine Legion, and I'm going to go through its units. I'm going to pick one of its non-unique but specific to Legion units. I'm going to add it to my Alpha Legion army, and replace the original Legion's rule with the Alpha Legion rule. So, as an example, if you took a unit of Fire Drakes from the Salamanders, right? You'd say, my little Alpha Legion cell has infiltrated the Salamanders. They got a bunch of guys in the Fire Drakes to sign on. They're like, yeah, man, I love just scale. I think they're really cool. Like, oh, great, we got some scale covered armor. Let's be friends. They're like, yeah, man. They would lose the Salamander rule that says they reduce the to wound roll for basically the heat weapons. They lose that rule. They would not be Salamanders as far as their specific Legion advanced reaction. But what they will instead have is the -2-inch range for Alpha Legion. -2 for all distances measured towards them.
Yeah.
On some units, this works fine. Because it's like, yeah, I'll give up the plasma protection to have a 3-up invulnerable save Alpha Legion beat stick. Fuck yeah. Other units, I can't think of the top of my head, but some units really need their Legion rules to function, and losing them is an issue.
I, I think immediately to some of the more assault style legions when I think of, say, World Eaters, Blood Angels, ones like that, because their trait is specifically designed to, I want to assault in, and my trait's making me better in assault. This trait that they have doesn't make you better in assault. You might be harder to assault, cool, but it doesn't make you better in assault. And let's face it, for some of those units, some of the points you might be paying for special units is because of the legion they're in. You take out, a unit from, say, World Eaters, and you put it in here, they might not be appropriately costed anymore. They might be overcosted because the bonuses just don't apply anymore, the things that they actually want. So um, I have not played. No, actually, I did play against Alpha Legion once, but that was a while back in a small points game. What do we feel Alpha Legion is lacking for you guys who might be a little bit more um, experienced with them? What are they lacking? Like, what if you're an Alpha Legion player, and we can do a bit of this at the end as
Yeah.
well. That's better spot. What is it they need? Is there anything in
So,
particular? It's just like you can splash and what seems cool.
in my opinion, and mostly because you could also use the advanced reaction with someone that you steal from another legion, I
Okay.
feel like they need close combat. A lot of their units, and we'll talk about their units later, of course, a lot of the units are geared to either sniping out some specialized characters or just holding an objective. Like
Okay.
they need something that is able. They need like a front. They have good second line units. They need like a good front line unit. I know the
Okay.
go to is fire drakes, but honestly, fire drakes or even that stupid Imperial Fist unit that um
Huskarls?
Huskarls.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
Huskarls would
Yeah.
be great. Something that can like be in front and be a distraction Carnifex, to use an old 40k term, to be a distraction Carnifex.
Okay, so off of, at least for the moment, we're thinking, you probably want more of a melee unit rather than a ranged unit. Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
when
my
we get
opinion.
to the end, the final thoughts, maybe we can all, now then we'll have went through it, we'll talk all about it. Maybe then we'll all pick one unit that we think would be a very good option to take. But I think maybe we'll wait till we kind of get through it all so we see everything there. Okay. Um, that gives us also the words for treachery, which originally I marked on my notes to say separate, but I'll just combine that. Why not? I think that puts Dan for
Oh yeah, the
advanced
advanced
reaction.
reaction, possibly my favorite advanced reaction in the whole
Didn't
out
even
of
know that still lets you do it.
so uh this is an advanced reaction that can be made once per battle during the shooting phase when any enemy player declares a shooting attack targeting a friendly unit under the reactive player's control, composed of entirely Alpha Legion models. So this can also be people that you stole, um, or borrowed.
Drive it like you stole it.
Yeah. Before resolving the shooting attack, the unit targeted by the shooting attack may be redeployed. To redeploy the unit, the controlling player selects at one model from the unit making this reaction and place it anywhere within 12 inches of its original position, and then scatters the model D6. And if the scatter roll would place the model within impassable terrain, a building, or within 1 inch of a model or fortification, or off the edge of the battlefield, and the model is moved it's basically a drop pod. It moves the shortest distance, placed free of all obstacles within the bounds of the battlefield. Once this model is placed, all of the models from the reacting unit may be placed anywhere within 6 inches of that model, at least 1 inch away from enemy models. And of course, the unit coherency. Any models that cannot be placed must be removed as casualties. Once the redeployment is complete, the active player may resolve their shooting attack as normal. However, if the shooting attack is no longer valid, you cannot choose a different target uh, to shoot. They lose that
Yeah.
shooting. So basically, to essentially recap all those words, um, you get elected to get shot, or you selected to get shot. You take one model, place them 12 inches anywhere away from its original position, roll a d6 and a scatter using basically drop pod rules, is basically what it is, I think. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure the drop pod is the same exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Using
Drop
drop
out
pod
rules.
rules, when you figure out the final location, place them all within, it has to be within 6 inches of the model, and also within a 1 inch away from someone, and also in unit coherency. And then if you're not seen anymore, too bad, so sad, you can't be shot. Yeah, this is This is a reaction. I've seen this used pretty effectively on multiple times. Um, I saw this used against the World Leaders player. When the World Leaders player shot the Lernaean Terminators, he was going to charge with like a Land Raider to just kind of thin them out, which is normal. You want to kind of insta kill them out, right? He goes, nope, and just literally made the charge impossible for the World Eaters. And then he just and then he shot them and charged them and wiped it out. I saw this used to great effect with I think it was like a 20-man tactical blob. And he just kind of placed them behind a line of sight blocking piece of terrain, and they were just saved from that. This is so. I saw this used when someone stole that Blood Angel unit, the really cool one, Crimson Paladins. The
They're one of them, yes.
Yeah, the ones with swords and shields. He just basically used it to basically get on an objective. So the person wasn't on an objective yet, and he goes, "Oh, great!" And he placed like 5 of those guys on an objective because he was going to try. It was just, it's so good. It's so good, in my opinion. Anyway, that's just my rant.
All right. Any thoughts on it, Steve?
I mean, I think you guys covered it.
Okay, that's fine. No, this one. Excuse me. No, this one is actually very, very good. When we think of the other reactions, there's several people who have reactions related to in your shooting phase. Maybe I get to charge you to something like that. This may not do that, but it absolutely can get you out of harm's way or just also set you up well. And the fact that it's a 12-inch move, yeah, it's a 6-inch scatter, but you're not going to necessarily get hurt from that. If you want this to do a lot for you, it can probably make it so you can't be shot, depending on what they're shooting at. Or, I could even see using this offensively on a certain unit just to get them closer to where their goal is instead.
Yep.
Rather than, I'm trying to make sure I don't get hurt. I'm not worried about your guns anyway. You're just trying to plink off shots. I'm going to get closer. I'm going to get to the spot because, I'm set up for this, that, or the other thing, whatever it may be. But I think it's a really good one.
Imagine if you're a Dark Angel, those the elite Terminators that you guys get. Shinobi. Imagine if Shinobi just popped up another 12 inches forward.
Yeah. To me, since you're talking about the idea of wanting to take a dedicated assault unit potentially as your choice, I even see this as using it offensively rather than defensively. Because one, I mean, if they're shooting at you with a weapon that is really going to say be doubling out Terminators, yeah, okay, I'll try and hide. But if they're not, I might just want to get closer. I'm fine with getting into combat. You get some extra attacks, but at least I'm where I want to be.
It's got utility.
Or I'm threatening something else.
And don't
it's
forget,
got utility, which I like.
It's a scatter roll, so Nuncio Voxes can re-roll it.
Oh, yes. Very true.
If someone in another unit has line of sight, repeats the first guy, he went the wrong direction on the scatter, try again. So potentially go 18 inches if the dice really like you in the direction you want to go.
Whee!
Or, at least you're closer to the 12 you wanted.
Yeah. All right.
And it's any guy in the unit you start from, too. So if, one guy is towards the front and you want to go forwards, one guy's towards the back, you want to go backwards. So you could...
You have play with this.
You have a lot of play with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. This feels
you could
to me...
slingshot a unit stupidly aggressively. Just string them forwards.
It feels to me like this is one where you don't mind saving for a while because your opponent's always going to shoot you. Or your opponent at some point stops shooting you entirely. You're probably doing well if they're not shooting you at all. But you don't mind saving it because it's okay if this doesn't, make it because, it saved a few guys in the unit. But maybe this makes it, because I said, right now, a lot of times it's end game scoring for things. You shot at me, now I can get closer to my scoring spot. Or I was mispositioned for something. You happened to take some shots at me. I was able to get into a better position. I think this one is fine if you are waiting most of the game to use it and just, hey, now it could be good. So, all right. That takes us through multiple things, but that puts us on to the Warlord traits now. Now, unfortunately for you, Steve, they don't have a traitor one. So you're gonna have to choose. Yeah, you're going to choose whichever one you think is the most traitorous of what they have.
I don't know if you know this, Dave, by the way.
Of course not.
Their Primarch is also not traitor. I should point out.
Yeah. Oh, no, that makes sense. I completely understand that. That's the whole idea.
It's so great. I love it.
kind of straight down the middle. Like you're not supposed to know what they're actually doing
Yeah,
or why
I
they're
love it.
doing
I
it.
do love it. It makes me
You
so
shouldn't be.
smile.
But the first one's loyalist, so I'm going to choose that one because it's loyalist. Um, even though some of the stuff I play isn't, but I'm going to choose it anyway. So you have to be loyalist for this one. This is the Mobius configuration. An army whose warlord has this trait counts any allied detachment that has any version of the Legion of Astartes X special rule as though it had the fellow warriors level of alliance, regardless of the variant of the Legion of Astartes X special rule it has. Units from the allied detachment that are removed as casualties do not score victory points for the opposing player, regardless of the mission in play. And if all models that were part of the allied detachment have been removed as a casualty at the end of the battle, the controlling player gets a victory point. No, are you laughing to yourself over there?
I am. It's so
Okay,
sorry.
that's all right. I can totally hear it. Remember, this thing picks it up better than the other
That's
one does.
right. I'm just laughing at the
That's
victory
all right.
point thing.
Yeah, no, this one is actually pretty good though. No unit in the allied detachment may make reactions of any kind, but the first unit in the primary detachment to make a reaction each turn does not use up a point of the controlling player's reaction allotment. So I'll handle the last part first because that one's nice and simple. First of all, you have to have an ally for this. It doesn't work if you don't have allies. Rather than the standard, you get an extra reaction in a blank way. Your ally is never allowed to react, but you get one bonus reaction in per round, and it's your first one used is a bonus. So whenever you use it, that is the bonus. So you could have two in the movement phase if the first one you use is movement phase. So you don't get to choose when. Exactly. So the fellow warriors level of alliance, is that the one where you can join each other and everything's happy
Yep.
go lucky?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to be sure. So no matter where on the chart you are, we consider ourselves to be best friends. It doesn't matter if you die, but if all of you die, then I get victory points for it. So I'm essentially
Sorry, not the highest tier, the second highest tier.
sorry, second highest. Okay, second highest tier. So can't join your units, but essentially for all other purposes, we don't hinder each other. Is that what that tier essentially does?
So
Books
well, the
everywhere.
highest they have as an option is fellow warriors. Anyways, the highest that most trust Alpha Legion will ever get is this right.
Oh, okay. They don't have any battle
Warlord trait.
brothers.
Yeah, they have no sworn brothers. So at this level, it's on page 13 of the
Thank
Liber
you.
book.
There
If you
we
wanted
go.
to look. They're not part of the army, but they can't be targeted by your own units. They don't get benefits of allied warlord traits. They cannot be joined by allied independent characters, and are not counted on the units or special abilities. They fight alongside each other with no positive or negative effect.
I like that
So
you.
they are scoring if they were scoring before. Distrusted is when you lose the scoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't join. Basically, you just have two armies.
I mean, I like the fact that you don't get victory points for killing them, because if I'm not mistaken, someone could correct me here. I believe that every single mission has a version of the attrition rule, whether it's D3 victory points, or you get a victory point for each unit that you kill, or you get a victory point if you just lost, or you
Have more remaining.
have more remaining.
Yes,
Whatever
that's
it
a
is, there's
standard
always
secondary.
yeah, it changes, but it's standard secondary. So if you have allies, you seriously, your opponent is really not getting that victory point, and you are also gaining a victory point if you just lose everyone. I think this also, in my opinion, also not forces you, but really makes you want to take melee units, because you can't stop a melee from happening, if that makes any sense. Like, I can't
Yeah.
not swing on you. So it's
No.
kind of making me want to take melee units so that if they die, okay, haha, it was part of my plan. Now I get a victory point.
Yeah. I do think this one is very cool. I mean, obviously, you have to run allies, and I have no problem with allies. I think that's a nice thing to have in the game. Um, I think it's a nice bonus that you get the victory point. I think the bigger thing is that they don't count against you. Um, I mean, let's face it, depending on how big your allied attachment is, assuming your allied attachment has like more than like the bare minimum, you actually threw some stuff into it. Losing your ally, like, oh yeah, I gave you a point for killing your ally, but you have so much less army now. Like, I could see that being a thing still. But this one, honestly, yeah, I just feel this one's actually very cool. I'm curious to see if the other ones are better, or they at least have to be more versatile, because this one's not very versatile.
They're
If
all
you don't take allies or you don't bring other armies, because remember, you could already put in a unit, so their requirement of allies or their desire for allies is much less, because you already get to splash in that one nice cool unit that you might have done an ally just to get before. So that does mean you could actually have up to 3 armies worth of units in your army, which is nutty.
Even if you don't take allies, you still get the reaction thing, which is interesting. It's flexible,
Yes, it is very flexible.
but you will miss the ally detachment bit, at least a
Yeah.
little.
You still get something out of it, but I think you definitely want allies. Absolutely. Because the problem with the reaction part is it's nice, but if I'm like, ooh, I kind of really want it for shooting, I guess I don't get to make any movement reactions this round then.
Yeah, but if you need it for shooting, odds are you probably weren't needing it for movement, generally.
True. I like when it's full flexibility or prescribed. When you kind of give me this, then I might be making certain decisions off of wanting it for later. And if I'm saving, if you know, again, you have to always assume your opponent is a smart person as well, or at least hopefully you're playing against smart people.
I mean,
Which means, which means
it,
they see you like, oh, they got. I know I have really good shooting units. I know he's going to want to save it for that. Okay, so I can just move how I want. I can try to bait it out, or I can do what I want, and I know he's not going to do anything about it. Or I'm kind of set up for a lot of charges. He's going to want it for the assault phase because it's small shots. Okay, I can do maybe a little bit more. So, it's up to you guys who wants to do which one is more traitorous
I'll do
for you, Steve.
Hydran Excursor because I have a nice little combo with this one.
Excursor's not a word.
I
Is it
guess
not?
that
Is it
makes
even
me
made
a
up?
master of lies.
No, that's fine. It's just that's definitely I don't think an
Oh,
actual
Excursor's a
word.
word.
Okay, what's it mean?
It means skirmisher, scout, or spy.
You just looked that up, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
Wait,
All right.
it's on
I
the
don't
shit.
like it.
Technology.
That's true. I was actually starting to look it up then, but you just found it
Yeah,
last night.
it's
I just
not a. It's also, by the way, not a very used word.
no,
Holy
it's not because
shit.
I guess it's sort of a route towards excursion. Okay, I can kind
Excursion,
of see
yeah.
that, but I it's still dumb. All right, be the master of lies that you are, Steve.
Yes. So, if your warlord has this trait at the start of the battle, once all players have deployed all their units, including infiltrators and scouts, and after seize the initiative, select up to 3 units under your control. You redeploy them anywhere you are legally allowed to deploy them, but they cannot be put into the special reserves, only basic reserves. So no
Yeah.
entering deep strike assault, drop pod assault, subterranean assault, flanking assault, none of that. You can walk on from your table edge if you want to move into reserves. I do not believe this lets you bring things out of reserve.
No. I would say no because you're redeploying. Yeah, select up to 3 units under their control, so it may be redeployed. It would have to specifically
Yeah, okay,
state.
it says it right there. You may not bring them out of reserves.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't
So,
even
yeah.
notice that line, but if it didn't explicitly say you could come out of reserves, then absolutely not. But yeah, it does say you cannot.
Yep. Yeah, so
Good.
you
I'm
cannot
glad
bring
they put
things
that in
out,
there to
only
avoid it.
in. Yeah. Because that could always get like really, dude. You could keep that
I should
giant
also point
thing
out you
that's
can't
a
be deep
perfect
strike
counter.
assault,
And,
subterranean, flanking. Yeah, none of that.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and that's good. It's good that they don't, because otherwise you'd have a thing where a person puts down some units that they obviously are like, well, I'm going to see what you do and decide what type of special assault they go into. If you go near the edges, I'll make them flanking. If not, oh, these guys could also deep strike instead. It avoids unequal shenanigans.
Yep. Which is
Still
the least
funny.
fun kind.
Redeploy is still great. So
Oh,
hold on.
absolutely.
Yeah, I was
If
gonna
you
put out.
play
Yeah.
like even the slightest bit competitive 40k, you will
Yeah.
know how much a redeploy can save.
Oh my
your
god,
ass.
so many times. Always spend that CP on that relic for redeploy.
If you have it.
Yeah.
And then finally, just so I make sure I get it in there, you get a bonus movement phase reaction.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
At least nice, but yeah. Yeah, so far, I mean, the first one only works if you have people.
I mean,
It
yeah.
truly only works if you have an ally. This one just works all the time.
Well, you're
It's
gonna like the
better
next.
if you deploy first, I think,
Much better.
just because it lets you really like capitalize on it as a counter deploy tool. I mean, you still have it if you deploy second in case they have infiltrators and scouts, but it's not as huge.
Yeah.
Hmm,
And it's after the seize roll, which is interesting.
yes.
So, you deploy first, or you deploy second, but then they seize. Or no, you deploy first, they deploy second, they seize. You're like, oh, well, you're going first, and you could move out of the way. So even
Yep.
if you go second, there's use.
That's my exact thought. It is obviously better if you get to put your army down first to an extent, because you're also set up to be going first. And either one, they seize on you. Ooh, I can move, my asset that's in a really bad spot because I thought I was going first and it'll get blown off the board. Or I set up second. I've figured out that I've seized, and now I can position myself better because I know I get to go immediately. I mean, deploying second and not seizing is the worst case of this, but this one is just fun at least, and there's a lot of ways it can be good. All right. Dan, tell us about this word that I
Yes, the
thought was fake, but
Hydrate
turns out is real.
Excurser. I do like
Don't
this
like
one.
it.
So, a warlord with this trait must select any one variant of the Legion Astartes X special rule, other than Legion Astartes Alpha Legion, at the start of the battle, um, before any models are deployed. The warlord and any unit he joins gains a bonus of +1 to hit all to hit rolls made against models with the chosen variant of Legion Astartes X special rule, and you make an additional reaction during the shooting phase. So essentially, your warlord and the unit he joined now have a +1 to hit roll. This means in shooting, and this also means in combat. Um, this is just all around good. A +1 to hit is great, especially if you're in a shooting unit. But if you're in a melee unit, this is also very, very good. Um, all of a sudden your weapon skill 4 Terminators are hitting on 3s versus 4s, or maybe they might be hitting on 2s. We'll talk about that later. They might be hitting on 2s all of a sudden. Scary thought. No, it's just a good warlord trait. Very simple, very good. Dud.
It's probably in actuality, it is the best of the three from a numbers perspective. Because it's always going to work.
Against
Master
the
of Lies,
purely plastic army.
exactly, yeah. The Master of Lies may or may not help you. The first one requires allies to really make it work. So this overall is the best. It's sort of the least fun. So if you're going for fun, the first two I think are a lot more fun and a lot more interesting. But this one is just good overall. Whatever you put him in, your opponent is going to mostly be one army, one legion. The only thing that would be weird is obviously if they were something else, if they were playing, say, Mechanicum, something like that, because then they don't have the Legion starting special rule.
Yep, or demons, or solar
Mm,
militia, or solar auxiliary militia custodes.
yeah.
Yeah,
So if you're going to an event and people have play tons of that, yeah, I would avoid this one then, because that might be a bit too much of an ask to ignore something quite that big.
exactly.
But all right.
All right.
Overall, they were all nice though. We didn't have any that
Oh yeah.
we hated, which is good. We've had some where we really think some are garbage. All right. That puts us to their war gear. They have three things. There are three people. It's like GW designed this book for us, but they still made us pay money for it. Does anyone have something in particular they would like to talk about?
I mean, I've done all the bolters so far, so I'll take the Bane Strike bolter.
Yes. Oh yeah, I
I'll
was
Just
take
going to
keep
the.
it
say you
going.
should.
You know what? I'll take the shank stick
Okay.
because it is funny. I have when I played Alpha Legion in 1.0, it really didn't change much, but
Oh, it changed a lot.
well,
One of
it
the
still was.
major reasons you took this changed.
So I'll talk power daggers. Power daggers can be given to any character unit subtype for 5 points. So it's a quick 5 points. Slap it on them. It can be sergeants. It can be anyone. Power daggers are melee weapons. They're power weapons as well. Sorry. Strength 3, AP 3, sudden strike, breaching 5 up. They're not specialist weapon, and I always forget which one is a specialist weapon: a power fist or a chain fist.
Yes. Oh no, Power Fist. Power Fist.
Yeah, Power
Power
Fists are
fist.
specialists.
That's
They're
right. Chain
specialist
Fists
and chain
lost it.
fist are not. Okay, that's
Yeah.
I always forget which one. So you can no
Today
longer do
in
the
Breaking the
power
Game
dagger.
with Dan.
Yeah, I know. You can no longer take the power dagger, power fist combo and gain an attack, which does kind of suck. But on the flip side, this is kind of hilarious in a challenge, and I've seen it happen, where a sergeant challenges another sergeant. I mean, you are fishing for fives, which does suck, but you're hitting on fours, and if you get that 1-5 through, you shank the sergeant before he smacks you with a power fist, um, which is quite funny. It's 5 points. Is it mandatory? No.
No,
Is it
absolutely not.
fun? Is it if you
Most
have
of the
extra
time, don't.
points? No. If you have extra points, like 5 or 10 points, sure, slap it on them. Because if you have a non-specialist weapon, I can't remember which ones are specialist and non-specialist.
Okay, ready
Um,
for Dan Breaks the Game?
yeah, go
Chain
ahead.
Fists are non-specialist.
Yes.
So if you have a Terminator Sergeant with a Chain Fist, you just go, yeah, 5 points of extra attack, done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
It's a 5 point extra. Exactly. Like I said, is it a mandatory 5 points? No. Is it
No.
if you have some laying around, or you maybe want to give an extra attack to a chain fist sergeant?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
Or
got some spare
to
points here.
a what's it called? To like a librarian with a force weapon in Terminator
Force
armor.
weapons are not specialist. Are Paragon blades specialist? They are,
Yes,
right?
they are.
Okay.
But there's
Yeah, no,
still
it's
a
just
lot of weapons or like weapon platforms where you struggle to find that offhand weapon. This is that offhand weapon.
yeah.
Yeah.
And still slap it on a sergeant. If you're going against a tactical squad and your opponent has a power fist, and you just have a power swords aren't specialist, are they?
Nope.
Power swords are not specialists now.
But
Also,
they
you have a
also pair
power
with
sword.
bolt pistols. So you don't have to
Oh,
worry about
okay.
that. You'll be taking the
But yeah, no,
sudden
it's just
strike with this one.
yeah, the sudden strike. You hit an initiative 5. You're breaching 5 up. Again, you're fishing for that 5. But hey, if you get that 5 on 3 attacks if you charged,
Now, sudden strike is the turn you charge only, right?
Yeah.
I will
Okay.
check.
I
Let
would
me check
assume
it.
so.
Because reach
Hold on.
is always duelist's edges in a challenge.
Then
I think
yes, it is
sudden
on the
strike is
charge.
on the charge.
All
Okay.
right.
Now I'm
I'll
gonna have to
scroll
check
down. I'll
because
scroll.
we
I'll,
don't
I'll
we
scroll
don't.
down. I got it
Okay,
because I
you
have the
check.
cheat sheet. Yeah, because I have
All
the
right,
cheat sheet. So
that's fine.
uh,
Scroll quietly. You don't have to go
that.
while you're scrolling. You
Oh,
go
I was
quiet.
gonna say there's no way you hear my mouse, and it is when
Yes.
you charge.
No, we don't hear the mouse. We hear you talking while you
Oh,
think.
okay. It
That's
is
what we
when you
hear.
charge in a combat.
Okay.
Okay. As long as it's not your primary weapon, I'm fine with it. I guess on like your tax squad sergeant, if you want to give him something that's AP3, a lot of times what he's going to be hurting will be AP2 because of the breaching. But if you want to give him AP on a weapon, this is cheaper than his other options. I'm fine with it there. Or if you're using it to double up to get that extra attack out of someone's, like, say, a chain fist or something like that. But
So
otherwise, it is
I
dumb.
know we haven't talked about them yet, but there is one of the special units they have, the Head Seekers, or Head Seekers. Jesus Christ, the Headhunters, are all armed with these. Period.
Oh,
So
that's gross.
the entire unit has them natively, and they're not that expensive for them. So it is like if the entire unit has it and they're all swinging, okay, that is pretty hilarious. So
It's hilarious that they want to get you in a knife fight. I'll give it that.
it's
I'm not going
thank
to
you.
say it's good, but they want to put you in a knife
Listen,
fight.
it kind of makes you think like, okay, sure, they're strength 3, but if they're going to toss at me, if they charge, let's see, there's 5 of them, 15 attacks, and if any of those are 5s on the wound, it's AP2. Ugh. that, that does get kind of, you're like,
It's a thing, but
yeah.
it's okay. All right, Steve. What about these special bolters?
All right. Special
Good bolters.
bolters. Rubbing it in once again that I cannot have shrapnel bolts in a combi bolter.
Nope.
So, independent character Alpha Legion models may exchange a bolter for a Bane Strike bolter, or a combi bolter for a Bane Strike combi bolter for 5 points each. Additionally, a Seeker squad may replace their Kraken bolters for Bane Strike bolters at no cost, and Legion veterans that are Alpha Legion may swap them out for 2 points a model. What do we get? We get a bolt weapon with an 18-inch range, strength 5, AP 4, rapid fire, breaching 6 up, and on the combi bolter, it is also twin linked.
Would you ever use this on your Seekers? Because you actually
Never,
run Seekers.
never, because they have a breaching 4 up option with a longer
Okay.
range.
So why?
Okay.
Are they just doing it because like
every
Yes.
Legion has the option, just so you can
Okay.
thematically say they all have my Legion special ammo.
okay?
Honestly, I
Yes.
would just the way I would have done the special ammo would say they gain this additional option on their list of rounds, but that's not how the edition's set up, unfortunately.
Okay.
But that would make sense. I wish they did it that way.
I will point out that the Headhunters also have this, and it's kind of for free points wise. So that's
Well,
also why.
It's fine if you get it for free. I have
Yeah.
no problem if you get something for free. I care about if you're spending points on something,
Yeah,
or
no.
okay, it's a free swap. But if it's a free swap and it's not better, obviously don't do it. It's not better for
Exactly.
Seekers, so don't do it there. But yeah, if your unit comes with it, if they already got it, hey, you got it. What are you gonna do about
Exactly.
that?
And,
But
and
I
it's
mean,
twin
breaching on
linked
a 6 is
breaching
nice.
form, so yeah.
So
I think the grenades. Yeah, the grenade is next. The funny one.
yeah, well, take the grenade.
No, you got it. You got it. Go ahead.
No, oh yeah, you're right. You did
Yeah, I
Paradox.
did.
I
I
remember
did
who
the. I
did
did the
what
shanky
anymore.
stick. I did shank stick.
I got too many things open here. I'm looking. Okay, Venom Spheres. Is this like acid or something like
Yep,
this?
it's
Oh no, just
essentially
toxin. Oh, and
They
little
stole it from the.
crystalline
They
splinters.
stole
Okay,
it from Xenos, which is great.
okay. Any model that is Alpha Legion special rule and the character unit subtype can take a Venom Sphere for 10 points per model. This is the profile. Are you breathing into your mic now?
No, my mic's like off my mouth.
That was something. You're also a little bit far. Get a little bit closer. Just don't get in breathing
okay, there we
range.
go.
Venom Sphere. So it's an 8-inch range, strength 1, assault 6. So you have 6 shots with it essentially. Poison 3 up, and it's 1 shot. So you use it, it's gone. I don't know how. I don't feel good about it for the fact that it is 10 points and I'll only use it once. Assault 6 is nice, but let's face it. Unless you're putting it on someone who has, like, I don't know, Blizzard skill 5, you're going to miss a few. Poison 3 up is nice, but it's kind of, to me, it feels like a bit better of a bolter than I'm ever going to use once. And very short range because I have to get within 8 inches.
Would you rather? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Would you rather take 2 power daggers or 1 venom spear?
Are those my only options?
Yes, I was gonna say if you had a choice between a venom
Okay.
spear or 2 power daggers, what would you take?
Okay. If I had to take those, and I didn't get another choice of anything I actually liked, but if those are the things I had to do, I'd rather probably take 2 of the power daggers.
Exactly.
You're going to get the extra attack because you have 2 of them. You have a good AP. You have an ability to breach, so you have an ability to essentially get the best AP you're probably going to need. You're not going to hurt as much because you're only strength 3, but they're not really going to be getting saves as much. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Venom Spheres. I think they feel too expensive to me for what they do for a one shot.
Yeah.
A combi Melta maybe is expensive and it's like a one shot, but it can do a lot. You could destroy a tank with the thing. This, I might kill a guy or 2. Again, I could roll great. I roll all 6, all of them wound. You fail every single save. Sure, but that's not going to happen. Realistically, that's not going to happen. If it ever happens in your game, that is so far outside the realm of the possibility of what should have occurred, you shouldn't even consider it. So,
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm not thrilled with their armory, personally. I don't know. Maybe you guys have a rosier picture of it than I do.
No,
I know
not
that,
at all.
Yeah, the special units
Good.
special units get it for free. So,
and that's hey, if you get stuff for free,
exactly.
I have no problem. And for free, okay. I understand why it's not free, but like on a unit where Venom Spheres are free, I'm all about it. That sounds great then, because it's you're about to assault me in, you're nice and close. Hey, I got better shot of putting some more wounds on you.
Yeah.
But if I'm having to pay 10 points on a guy, I got better spots to put 10 points. I'm already running out of points on things. All right. That finishes their unfortunately somewhat mediocre armory. but they do have a Centurion, a Saboteur. Does anyone? So between the Saboteur and 2 squads, we essentially have 3 units. Does anyone have a favorite of which one to talk about? Does
I could
someone want
take
the
the
Saboteur?
Lernaeans or the
I kind of
Headhunters.
figured you would.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I'll take the Saboteur.
Okay, go for it.
So, this is a 15-point upgrade to your Centurion, not your Terminators for those who aren't differentiating them. They are very different units.
Yep.
So, your Power Armor Centurion, for 15 points, may gain Infiltrate, Scout, and a new rule called False Colors, as well as the Skirmish Unit subtype. It can be your Warlord, and may not join any unit besides Seeker Squads and Headhunter kill teams. False Colors. A unit composed entirely of models with a special rule may not be targeted with a shooting attack by enemy unit as long as the unit with the special rule has not made a shooting attack at any point in the battle. Once a unit of models with this special rule has made a shooting attack or successfully charged an enemy unit, including during a reaction, then the special rule has no further effect, nor does it restrict the enemy unit from declaring charges against it. So it can be charged, but it can't be shot until it either shoots or ends up in melee. Am I reading that right?
They cannot be shot. Yeah, but you can be charged. Yes, there's nothing that stops it.
All right.
Yeah, because nor does it restrict the enemy from declaring charges. So you can kind of walk around with impunity at a distance, but you get too close, you got a problem.
Well, I have some good news for you. You also get Melta Bombs, Breacher Charges, and Shroud Bombs. So if they want to charge you, they have to roll big number.
Yeah, that's a minus, 8 to their charge?
Just
And
double
Shroud
checking that
Bombs?
Shroud affects charges.
No, Shroud does not affect charges.
Oh, not affect charges? Okay.
Nope.
Still minus 2.
And you can take a Nemesis Bolter for 5 points, which is very useful.
Hold on. Shroud, when making a shooting attack, ranging attacking, and unit that includes at least one, is 6 inches further. Night Vision and Primarch Ignore it. In addition, Barrage, Shroud Bombs. Out of sight. Yeah, no, that works for close combat too.
No.
You count as being 6 inches further away. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Shooting attack. I can't.
Shooting
Yeah, so
attack.
shooting
Okay,
attack.
I
No,
can't
no.
read.
I was going to say, holy shit.
Nah, that's all right.
He's going to poof go. I mean, honestly, I like him. Give him a Melta, Combi something, and just kind of walk him up the board, pop a tank, and then laugh.
Well, you potentially start having a problem if you're doing a Melta, because you get close enough, I can come at you.
True.
Because remember, I can't shoot you, but I can charge you. I kind of like him because he can take Seekers. I think he might be good even in a squad like that. Headhunters, we haven't looked at. We'll see exactly what they do. I kind of like him in those squads because he's sort of a guaranteed way to get into good ranges. Like Seekers, because he can take a what's it called? A Nemesis Bolter as well. The Seekers might want to get within 24 to be able to do their cool stuff. He can get them there. They get there essentially very safely. Or Headhunters. Headhunters, the same sort of thing.
He is, I think, the only way to get Shroud Bombs into a Seeker squad? Question mark? Because I know Seekers don't get it natively. Recon do, Seekers don't. And I always wish my Seekers had it.
Only way I know of, unless there's some
Maybe
random
one of the
character
generics
that
has it. But yeah, this is great. I love it. I would run it.
Yes. And it's cheap. 15 points is a really nice cheap upgrade for him too.
I mean, you can't get a bike or a jump pack, but I mean, that's okay.
Who cares? Yeah.
When you can only go with those 2 types of units who don't have that, that's fine.
I mean, he could go out on his own. Because remember, false colors only matters if the entire unit has false colors.
So maybe he he goes out on his own, does his thing, and then comes back and hides.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, so I didn't even think about if the whole unit.
Yeah.
But the units don't have it. Oh, so he only has that essentially if he is on his own then, because they don't have false colors.
Yup.
Oh, I am much less impressed. He's still very cool, but then he's kind of only good on his own. I kind of wanted to put him with a unit and thought
the question is, you want to buff a unit or use him as a torpedo, essentially. Just kind of fire and forget.
He's very neat and fluffy, but I don't like him nearly
Actually,
as much
what's interesting is You can also, let's say, give him like, I don't know what a Centurion can take, but maybe Centurion give him like a little kind of close combat ability, deploy him really close to the opponent's like a heavy support squad or something to the effect of, and they can't overwatch him. He just kind of goes in.
You just tie him up.
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah,
I think with Master of Lies, you could redeploy him into an infiltrate in theory, because that's not
I
a
don't see why you
reserves.
couldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that would be fine.
Yeah. And put him in front of a heavy support squad, walk him up the board. No one can shoot him. He's there waving a white flag. Then all of a sudden he goes, hi, and he charges the heavy support squad.
Flip into Force Centurions. I mean, Centurions have a lot of options, so they tend to be expensive because Centurions start cheap. But I mean, you could give him, some good different types of weapons and things like that. So
Yeah.
I don't
all
think
I
that's
right.
think we
I
can
bad.
kid him out for a
just
nice little.
finished skimming through the generic consoles. This
Good.
is the only one that grants shroud bombs.
Okay. So that's another thing. You might just like him because he can give you shroud bombs to your unit.
I
Yeah.
pay 15 points for that. No questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, shred bombs are pretty nasty.
All right. That then is going to move us to the next unit. This is the Lernaean Terminators that Dan wants to talk about. That he's going to talk
Yes.
Yes.
about.
Ah,
Huh?
the most controversial
Yes.
unit.
The
No, that he's
5-man squad of Terminator Alfarius.
yeah,
Yeah.
that he's going to talk about in a way that doesn't try to demean a bunch of other people.
No, I'm not gonna demean. It's just we got into a tiff and it's fine. So their name terminators are 250. That's I think mid ground, right? I always forget. That's mid ground, right?
It's reasonably mid. Most
Yeah.
of them are 250. The average
Okay.
special is
It's always
250.
it's always like 250, 275, 225. We saw some 225.
Yes,
All right.
most of them are 250.
All right. So these guys are elites. This is their specialized. They are weapon skill 4, which is interesting for an elite Terminator squad, but we'll get to that in a second. Ballistic skill 4, strength 4, toughness 4, 2 wounds. The leader is 3 wounds. He does have an extra wound, which is nice. And then from there, normal 8-9 leadership, initiative 4, attack, it doesn't matter. So there are 5 of them in the unit. They are armed with Volkite chargers, power axes. The leader gets a venom sphere. So you have that free Overwatch if you want 6 shot, poison 3 up, whatever. And they are in Cataphracti Terminator armor. They are heavy and they are line. This is native. This is not granted them by right of war. This is not granted them by anything. These are natively line Terminators. They have all the normal Terminator stuff such as relentless, bulky, will not die, stubborn. They also have a special rule known as Hydran Exemplars. We'll get to that in a moment. They're dedicated transport. They could take a Land Raider or a Dreadclaw drop pod. Is Dreadclaw drop pod new? The Terminators can take that, right? Am I crazy?
No,
Huh.
not always. So
I
it
just-
depends. So
Yeah.
your normal Cataphracti squad can, but not all special Terminator squads can.
Good. Okay, yeah. That's why it popped up as like in my brain is like, oh wait, that doesn't
At
seem
risk of telling a lie, I think none of the others can.
huh.
It might be possible. I don't remember on anyone else. I only know for the
That's why it's
normal squad
popping up
because
in
I'm
my
on the
head.
page right now.
It's popping up in my head. I don't think I've ever said or we've ever said Dreadclaw drop, and I've done the Terminators mostly because I love
Yeah,
Terminators.
not that I
Yeah, not
recall.
from memory.
I don't want to say for sure they don't, but I don't think that's
So
necessarily.
that's
the
a
case, yeah.
neat choice. They could take a Legion Dreadclaw drop pod, so they can be in a drop pod assault. Of course, you can go up to 10 models. You can get a Spartan. Now, and then it has, of course, the normal dedicated transport stuff.
Yes.
You can take 5 additional Lernaean Terminators for 45 points each. This is where it also gets interesting. Now they can get a Heavy Flamer for 5, Plasma Blast for 10, Volkite Culverin for 10. They can also take a Conversion Beam Cannon. So I'm very much split on this choice because Volkite Chargers are very short ranged. Conversion Beam Cannon wants to be long range, but you absolutely can take it for 15 points, and I would recommend it. You can exchange the Power Axe for a Power Fist at 15 or a Chain Fist at 20. Now, the Special Rule Hydrant Exemplars, which is why I was mentioning before that this goes really well with the Warlord trait. The controlling player of a unit composed entirely of models with a special rule must select one variant of Legion to start as X special rule. At the start of the battle, before any models are deployed, all models in the unit with this special rule gain a bonus of +1 to hit against models with the chosen variant of the Legion Starter's X special rule. So, if I scroll up, Hydran Excusers?
Excuser, I would say, yeah.
Excursor.
San Diego.
Hydran Excursor is a completely different rule that
Yes,
also
it is.
gives you a +1 to hit. So if you stick your Warlord with Hydran Excursor in a unit of Lernaean Terminators with Hydran Exemplars, you now have a +2 to hit with them. So a lot of people were...
No.
Why?
Hydran Exemplars, the controlling player of a unit composed entirely of models with this special rule. If you put your leader in there, the entire unit no longer has the special rule.
Oh.
Yep.
I was having
Unless
so much...
someone else has it, but your characters do not. I'm looking at them right
Oh,
now.
yeah,
They don't have
no.
it. So, nope.
In the arms of the angel.
Yeah. Hey,
Oh, I
things
got so
things
happy.
sometimes get worse when we look at little details.
Oh, I was
Yep,
so happy.
doesn't work.
But still, okay. But still, +1 a hit for the entire unit is really good. It means that they're hitting on 3s with their guns. It also means that they're hitting most of the time on 3s. And if they're against even an elite unit, they're hitting the elite unit on 4s and not 5s.
Yes.
Which
Although
is
the
helpful.
elite unit is hitting you on 3s.
Yes, they are. But it's more of like, I'm not dying as bad.
And I mean, they have It Will Not Die, which most don't. I think only Salamanders do.
Yeah,
Really?
you said,
Yep.
you said common. That is not common.
Huh.
It Will Not Die is exceptionally rare, and stubborn depends on the Terminator. Inexorable or stubborn depend on special.
It flips between the two.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. But yeah, no, this is a good beefy unit, 250 points. They are line natively. I always go back and forth, literally, on either, because you could also kind of, there are ways to do it, but you can infiltrate them up. But you can like, I don't know. I always go back and forth on wanting them to go up towards an objective and using their Volkites, but then you kind of lose your conversion beam cannon ability a little bit, or staying back, holding an objective, and using your Volt conversion beam cannon to great effect. I always go back and forth on these guys, but I do like them. They're great. Dave, I know we were talking, me and Dave were talking before the podcast about
We do.
how the rule book only has, I think it's 2 objective missions. And then one of those objective missions is progressive score, and the other one is at end of the game, right?
Well,
Yes.
objective marker missions,
Objective marker missions, yes.
missions that care about line, because some care about line without markers. Don't forget.
That is true.
That is true. With the ones, so.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one with you where you get to the opponent's
Tide of Carnage, yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially, what we were saying is that line off of book missions, line is not really exceedingly useful. You obviously need some, and it's going to come into play in spots, but it's not as useful as you would like it to be, and it makes this a little bit less of a deal. Now, Dan, you were saying in a lot of events, they do progressive scoring. Essentially, they play different missions.
Do progressive scoring, or there's always an objective marker on... Or line matters a lot more, if that makes any sense. Line will always matter a lot more.
That's why originally you bought 30 of these guys.
Yes, I did. I don't know how the hell I was going to run. Was it 2,000 points for 30? I can't even remember now. I can't remember my old list. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's a Rite of War that helps them a lot too. But the point of the matter is just they're a good unit. They're just a solid, good unit. People were complaining because I guess they went down a weapon skill 4. I don't even remember. But people were complaining that they went down a weapon skill 4 and they should be weapon skill 5 because they're elite Terminators. But in my mind, I'm like, I think they're good normally. You know, the 2 wounds and 3 wounds of the Harrower is really great.
3 wounds is so nice.
Yeah, they pull out a lot of shots.
So nice.
If you don't take the conversion beamers, I still think that's 10 shots out of 5 people at strength 5. That's still hitting on 3s. Because remember, or hitting on 2s, sorry. 2s, because you've chosen the Legion. That's 10 shots hitting on 2s. I mean, hell, for Christ's sake, my 3 Volkite Myrmidons put out, 12 shots on 2s? And they do work, you know. This is a good squad. I like them.
Yeah.
They got power axes. You might want to change some for Power Fist and Chain Fist, but power axes are not a bad deal.
The Power Fist and Chain Fist is a tough one because they're very, very expensive. They're 15 or 20 points each.
I'm not saying all. No.
I would put a Chain Fist on the Harrower. and then say,
Yeah.
I'm already this far in. Also get him the dagger, because the chain fist is not specialist. So now
Oh,
you
that's
have
right.
4
Yes.
attacks on your chain fist on the squad sergeant.
Yeah. That is worth it there. I wouldn't do it on anyone else. I think you're just going to eat so many extra points and you're
Yeah.
not going to be gaining that much. I mean, it okay, they tend to hit a little bit better than their weapon skill looks, which is nice, but their weapon skill being 4, a fine balance. I don't have a problem with that being the number, but it absolutely is going to mean that if they go against the wrong unit, it's going to not go nearly as well for them. Like they are going to struggle versus certain things.
And that's why you bring the conversion beam cannon and you
Yep.
make them blinded.
You have a shot at it. Honestly, I think that for conversion beamer, I would take that because remember, these guys are in cataphractic armor; they can't run
And
anyway.
15 points is shockingly cheap
It's
when most of the
it is
Terminator
cheap.
weapon options are 20 points or so.
Yeah,
It is cheap. That's the normal. I should say that's the normal 15 points. And it's again outside of 18. It's a strength 8 small blast. AP4. It's AP who gives a shit, but it's strength 8 small blast.
yeah.
So
Until you get close, you're not going to care about using your Volkite chargers anyway, and you can't run. So you have this guy go fire at the unit halfway across the board. You make
yeah.
sure they can't like react back and like destroy. Like I wouldn't fire at the last
Well,
cannon
remember
squad,
you're 2 inches
but
away. Remember you're 2 inches away. I should point out that the conversion beam cannon here.
I
Let
think
me.
it's 72 inch range.
yeah, up to
God, I've used
72.
it. So,
I
yeah, I was
have
gonna
I
say
already have it
oh, you
open.
have it? All right. I was going to say, I've
Yeah,
used it so much and I still
up
forget.
to 18 is strength 7, no AP. 18 to 20, 18 to 42 is strength 9 AP4. Over 42 to
Wait,
72 is strength 12 AP1.
the conversion beam cannon, not the heavy
Yeah, that's what I'm
conversion.
reading. Conversion beam cannon. That's what I read.
They have better conversion beamers than
The conversion
mech?
beamer, so the
Hold on.
conversion beam cannon and the heavy conversion beam cannon, the only distinction is the size of the blast. The heavy is a large blast,
Have I
so 5-inch. Conversion beam cannon is a 3-inch.
at
Otherwise,
the
they are
risk of
identical.
being hilariously like made fun of on YouTube, I've been playing the blast as strength 8. Not that it matters.
Yeah, it
Uh
does. Strength 8 doubles people out. That absolutely matters.
no. The small blast at over 18. Over 18.
Oh, you've
Dan
just
is
been
saying
nerfing
he's
it
been
a
cheating
little bit.
himself out of the strength 9 and the strength 12.
That's all right.
But I
I'm
never
fine with
got
you.
past
I'm fine
42.
with you
Yeah.
unintentionally self-nerfing.
I've never gotten past 42, but I've always thought that oh, okay, interesting. Okay, so the same strength. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. Cool. I learn every day.
you
Whoops.
do. But the problem is you're learning from a thing that you're playing. It's one
Well,
thing when we
listen,
like realize and we read something like,
I
oh,
don't
because
think
it's
anyone's going to complain that I was playing the conversion beamers at strength 8.
You know what? Brett's going to do it now. Brett's going to be like, Dan, you cheater.
You
You get you
cheater.
thrown out
You
of the
cheated
club.
yourself, but it still
It's
counts.
still cheating.
it does.
Oh god, this
Cheating,
reminds me of
doesn't
so back
care.
in the day. I think you were there for that, Dave, when I was playing, I think it was 40K with my custodians for the first time ever. And this is with their new edition and everything, and I came out of 30K. And I kept saying there were 2 wounds each. And not until like 5 games in, someone goes, "Why are you marking 1 wound on them?" Like they're 2 wounds. They're like, "In 40K, they're 3 wounds." And I was like,
Yeah, I do
"Oh
remember that.
shit!" It was
Yeah,
like 6 games in. Oh man.
reading is fundamental.
Oh shoot.
That's all it is. It's
No,
one thing when we make when something is new, but when you keep using it, honestly, to learn rules, I usually just try to keep rereading the
I'm trying to
rules
think when
until I
Strength
feel
9
like
would have affected anything, and honestly, I can't think of anything.
but
But no, these are
probably
good.
not. At least
Yeah.
you nerfed yourself in the correct way instead of gave yourself the higher strength instead.
Exactly, the higher strength, exactly.
Yeah.
No, these are great. I like them.
All right. So that puts me to the Headhunter kill team. So it's 125 points for 5 of these guys. Let's see. So move 7, so standard move, weapon skill 4, but skill 5. Otherwise, they are closer to a vet style stat line after that with the better leadership and all.
I'll give you a hint. They are
Yes.
seekers
Yeah, I was about to say, looking at they're just
with
seekers.
a bonus leadership.
Seekers are Blizzard skill 5. I did not realize that.
Yes, they
Maybe
are.
Seekers. Oh, okay. I did not notice that. You say you have Seekers. I don't usually use. Well, haven't put any of my guys together as Seekers. I'm in the middle, put a bunch of stuff together. Okay,
Sadly,
yeah,
these guys have 1 wound each. That makes me kind of
Hold
Yeah.
on, hold
heartbroken.
on. They're really good though. Keep
I
going.
know that
Hold
I
on.
know they're good. I'm just saying.
yeah.
I
No one's
always
saying they're
cry
not
with my
good.
Seekers. I go, oh, if they were veterans, they'd still be alive because they'd have 2 wounds.
True. Yeah, actually,
But that
yeah.
one
Sorry, more
wound, when you
Seekers
have
down
a
line.
model that expensive per model, you feel it. You feel those
Yeah.
1s and 2s in your soul.
And these guys are more because these guys are an extra 5 points essentially per model. The starting cost is a little bit different, but the per additional is more. So for what they get those Bane Strike Combi Bolters that we talked about. They have power daggers. They have a bolt pistol, so they will get the extra attack. There is a single Venom Sphere on the Headhunter Prime, which is their character. Frag and Cracker and Eggs with their power armor. They are Skirmish, which is the same exact thing as the Seeker Squad. They're Relentless, which is additional. Precision Shots 4 up, which is the same as Seekers. They have Preferred Enemies for independent characters, which is a new thing. And also Infiltrate and Scout, which is Seekers get Infiltrate, but these guys can Infiltrate and Scout. They can take a Rhino, or they can also take a Dreadclaw, which is a bit different than what Seekers can do. So you can take up to 5 more of these guys for 20 points a guy. They can take minor combi weapons for free, and anyone can exchange their Bane Strike Combi Bolter for that. So I think that's really useful. They can take the Magna for 5, but the minor for free is very, very nice. One Headhunter in the kill team can exchange his Bane Strike Combi Bolter for either Heavy Bolter or take the Multi Melta. They are relentless, so it's
No way.
what?
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
that's such an
Yeah.
out there option. Whoa.
Yeah. Here's my
Whoa.
Seeker. Because they're just gonna melt anyone's face.
Here's my super stealthy assassin marine. He brings a
Yeah.
tank busting magma
It's-
cannon.
Hey, Steve. It's precision shots 4+. That multi-meld can 4-shot shoot something.
Don't
On a
forget
4+.
it's twin linked too.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
is.
god, it's disgusting.
You guys are actually louder when you're whispering because you got close to the mic, so it was actually more unpleasant.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It actually
And
was louder
it's
than
like,
that.
yes. Oh my god, a night fight means they'll miss on 1s and 2s, which means that's double the chances to re-roll for a precision shot. Oh my god.
Yeah, and the multi-melt is a really good range too. So I it might be 20 points, and these guys are already,
Worth
especially
it.
units are always expensive, but I really like the multi-melt option on them. The Prime can exchange his bolt pistol for plasma pistol and inferno pistol. Less excited about that. Not bad, but the plasma pistol is always a chance on a 1 wound guy. They're just going to kill yourself. Headhunter Prime can also take up either a Power Fist or a Power Weapon. 10 points for the Power Fist, 5 points for the Power Weapon. He can take some Melta Bombs, the Prime, and the Prime can go to Artificer Armor.
Okay, I'm kind of mad now.
Because they're better than...
No. Because these assholes walked over to Nocturne like, yo, Salamanders, knock knock. I need your Inferno pistols. You can't have them anymore. It's for us and the Blood Angels only. Like, they went through the entire Salamanders Legion, took every single Inferno pistol they had, and just handed them to Alpha Legion. Why?
So I'm
Why?
going to assume that in first edition, Salamanders had Inferno pistols.
Yes.
Okay.
Every single character got them as a free swap for a plasma pistol. So when I built my Salamanders last edition, at the very tail end, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go out and I'm going to source all the Inferno pistols I can find because they're hella cool. And then I get my book and I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's gone.
Did you ritualistically chop their hands off so that way you can make them WYSIWYG?
I
That's a no.
My soul is weak.
Yeah. Hey, nah. Pain is just weakness leaving the body. So, I do really
at
like
least
these
I know
guys.
where they went.
Yeah.
No, these guys are great. They're a little
They're-
squishy.
Yes,
little
they're
squishy.
very
Yes.
squishy. This is the type of unit where you have to be careful throwing things on them. Like, I would take the multi-melta because I think that actually is a good option, and I think precision shots is nice. Them being able to, they have preferred enemy character, which could be very good for what they have. Also, if you need a one-off shot to help kill a vehicle or anything like that, or get through something heavy, but I'd be careful with all the other options because I think you're going to make these guys real expensive real
Yes.
fast, and they're still only 1 wound with a 3-up save.
Put them in cover for the
Minor-
love of God. Put
So-
them in a
Oh, please.
ruin.
Yeah.
Put them in a ruin. Get them that 4-up cover save because the 5-up stacks to a 4-up because of the skirmish special rule.
Yes.
So minor wombo combos that I bought a bunch of these too. This is a really cool. I wanted to run the Rite of War with these guys.
Yeah.
Minor. Well, first of all, you haven't mentioned this yet. I think. I mean, you mentioned it when you were listing it, but they're all armed with power daggers too. So
Yes. They have a power weapon.
They can absolutely charge and strike an initiative 5. Sure, it's strength 3, but it's breaching 5 up. So you're going to be wounded on 5s, but breaching on 5s anyway. So still good on the charge. Minor wombo combos is taking the multi-melta and then tossing in some what's a combi melta? Is that a minor or a magna? I can't remember.
Magna.
That's a magna. Yeah. So toss in like 1 or 2 the melta guns, infiltrate up and everything. They have shroud bombs, so if you go first, maybe redeploy them with the warlord trait. Whatever. Point is, you get them close enough where they unload 4 precision shots. They get preferred enemy independent character. If the unit has any independent character, a librarian, a centurion, a praetor, whatever, you reroll 1s against that entire unit because preferred enemy.
They don't have shroud bombs.
If they have the what's it called? They do the Saboteur.
Yes. If they
have the Saboteur. Oh,
they
so I
do.
was adding.
Okay.
Apologies. I was adding
That's fine.
because I remember Steve telling me about adding the Saboteur. That's why I was laughing. Sorry. So without Saboteur, no shroud bombs, but toss in a couple melta guns, multi-melta, and then if you shoot the unit with the independent character, you're still rerolling 1s because it's preferred to be independent character than the characters in the unit, so you still reroll 1s and get that unit, which is really good. You have melta guns rerolling 1, and you have a multi-melta that's twin linked. You're gonna get precision shot 4-up, and now that praetor has to take invulnerable saves against an instant kill weapon.
I don't mind a magna or I don't know 1 or maybe 2 for that purpose if you want to do that. But I do think then, I mean, again, they're called a Headhunter kill team, but I think you are changing a little bit of maybe your design. Although these guys are Bane Strike combi bolters instead of the normal Nemesis style bolter or Kraken bolters or anything like that. So you can absolutely have them fill a little bit of a different way than Seekers. Seekers kind of are trying to fill the same purpose, but these guys might just go a little bit more, a little more hard at it, I will say.
Hell, if you 20 and then is it each any model in the unit? So you give the multi-melta to any one dude, so that's 20, and then 20 is 40. So we're looking at what 185. 185 gets you 4 melta guns and 1 multi-melta.
Well, what?
Right?
No.
So one guy gets the multi-melta.
Okay, that's 20 points.
So that's 145, right? And then you
Okay.
get 4 more melta guns.
So 20 more points.
So that's 40. 40 plus 125 is 165. Oh, it's cheaper
There
than
it is.
Oh, Jesus Christ, it's even cheaper. Oh, yeah, but that's 4 melta
Artifice
guns.
for armor, 175 because you have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. But yeah, that's 165, 175 for 4 melta guns and a twin linked multi-melta. That's precision shotting on a 4-up. And those 4 melta guns are re-rolling 1s if they're shooting at independent character squad.
Yeah, just don't roll on the night fighting turns. Don't roll 2 or 3 because all those
don't roll
Magnus. Yeah, all those Magnus are going to do.
Shit. I like how you say, don't roll shit.
Well, no, it's not necessarily bad, but if it's a one-shot weapon, you're obviously going to remember many more times when it doesn't.
Yes.
On 4 guys, you essentially, 1 to 2 of them. Rerolling 1s is nice, but you're looking on average of between 1 to 2 of them then. So half of them are going to
On
do nothing.
3s?
Half of them are going to, we're talking early turns. It's night fighting.
Remember, they hit on 3s.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. The Ballistic Skill 5. Okay. Even
5
on
here.
3. So you're looking at, that makes it better.
That's still 3 hits.
You still have a shot at about 1 or so of them. But
Remember, multi-meltas are twin linked.
yeah. Oh, no. The multi-melt I'm all in for. It's the Magna Combi weapons that I'm much more particular about. Because for a one-shot weapon, at least they're cheap. They're only 5 points on these guys. But a one-shot weapon that again, yeah, I roll that 2 or something. Or I roll the 1, then I roll another 1 or 2. I somewhat feel a waste. I'm not big on combi weapons currently that only are
And you
one
also
shot.
reroll ones on the wound with preferred enemy.
Okay,
So the melta guns are
that
mostly
that actually
wounded.
that does help a lot more, because that is true. Because there's always that chance that you roll the 1 to wound. So getting the reroll of a 1 there is actually very big too. All right, I've changed a little bit. I wouldn't put on all of them per se, but I would absolutely throw a
That was
couple
just one
extra in
way
there.
of using them. So
Yeah,
the person who ran these, because never built them. Of course, I sold them to someone else before I built them.
you
The
did.
person that ran these, I think it was just they ran it with a multi-melta and just normal bolters, and he just used it as a tactical squad sergeant killer. Because the bolter still breached on a 6, right? So the
Yeah.
multi-melta would shoot, possibly still kill the sergeant, or kill the apothecary if it had it. And then they would put the bolters if they precision shot, because I think they're 2 shots twin linked. I'm trying to
No,
remember.
it's just rapid fire.
Yeah. It's a
So
fire
within
weapon.
9 inches. Okay, so it's they're twin linked still. I do know that they're twin linked.
They aren't.
Yes, they are.
The
The bane
combi
strike bolters.
bolters are. The combi bolter version is not
Oh,
the
the
regular
combi
bolter.
bolter is not the actual. Um,
Although they do have combis, so ignore
Yeah,
it.
they have a combi, so it is.
I
Theirs
forget,
are, but the Bane
I'm
Strike itself
picturing,
is not.
yeah, I'm picturing the model in my head, and it's the over under. So it's not the typical side by side combi setup.
Oh no.
No,
Okay.
like the Terminators have it side by side. These guys have it over under,
yeah,
which
these are the
looks
combi
sick
bolter.
as
Yeah,
all
I was
hell.
gonna say.
Yeah,
Yeah. So no, they do re-roll their hits. Yeah.
All right. The more we talk about these guys, the more I do like them overall. I would still be careful not to throw too much stuff at them, because remember, your opponent gets to
Yeah,
make plays
exactly.
as well.
I
But
wouldn't buff them, but for 165 for melta guns, not bad. Or just for what? 145 with a multi-melta and still a twin linked bolter that breaches on a 6, precision shot
yeah.
4, still good. Still good.
Oh yeah, I just pulled them up. Yeah, their bolters are weird because it is the, they said over under, not side by side. That's a little weird, but
I like it better though. I like it a lot better. It's less clunk, more. I don't know.
Sleeker. It's sleeker and sexier.
Yeah,
my issue is that it's harder to notice that it is a combi, because usually the easiest way to tell people when I'm teaching them the game is, how many copies of the weapon do you see? If it's more than one, it's twin linked. A combi bolter is very easy to see that there's 2 of them slapped together. The over under might just look like a different gun if you didn't know what you were looking for.
that is fair.
All right. Why don't we get to some of these characters? So there's a total of 3 characters.
Exodus.
I'm guessing that's the one that you want is
Yeah,
Exodus.
I'll take Dynat because I
Yup.
love the man.
Okay. So I'll do those guys. So for anyone following along, we're gonna go through Dynat first because he's the one in the book, and then we're gonna go into the legacies because that's where the other 2 are.
All right.
So Dan can go over Dynat if he's done breathing into his microphone.
I'm not breathing. Oh, you're probably
receiving
did.
Exodus.
Is it the order backwards?
He is next
So
by pages. Yeah,
Oh, he's next by pages. We're
Yup.
gonna do Dynat because I already wrote down the number, and then we'll go to Exodus.
sounds good.
Yep.
All right, so Dynat. Dynat's 185 points, which is middling for a character. A little bit higher than normal, but about middling for a normal character. His stats are, I don't know his. Okay, so weapon skill 6 is higher than a no, that's
No, it's not.
Praetor.
Yeah, that's Praetor.
Praetor.
Level.
Weapon skill 5 is Praetor. 3 wounds is Praetor. Actually, I think it's Praetor.
Yeah, he's Praetor stat line.
Oh, okay, okay.
Get into the stat line
I'm
now.
so used to
check.
like the ones that are always in between that it drives me up the wall. So he has Praetor stat line. All right, so he's got a bolt pistol.
Yeah, exactly.
Yay, who gives a shit? The Prince, the Prophet, 1 Venom Spear. Every character gets it. Yay. 1 Phosphex Bomb, which is interesting. Artificer Armor, Iron Halo. So he's got that 2 up, 4 up. Frag Grenades and Crack Grenades, the normal. He's Master of the Legion, so you can take a Rite of War with him. He's an independent character. Relentless Precision Strikes 4 up. Not precision shots, precision strikes. Interesting. Weapon Master, and his Warlord trait is the Harrowing, another great Warlord trait. So, the Harrowing is at the start of the battle, before any models are deployed by either player, the controlling player of any army whose Warlord is Armillus Dynat may choose to select 3 friendly units composed entirely of models with the Alpha Legion special rule and infantry unit, and give all those models in the unit infiltrate, scout, or counterattack 1. In addition, you get an additional movement phase reaction. So you choose 3 units that are infantry and Alpha Legion, and now they are infiltrate, scout, or counterattack. Meaning, in the old list I had, Dave, the reason I had 30 Lernaean Terminators was I had 30 Lernaean Terminators infiltrating or scouting it. I can't remember if it was scout or infiltrate that I was doing them with. Yes.
You do enjoy your spam of different styles.
It's very different.
It's
funny.
to everyone's benefit, because when there's 3 stat lines for Dan to know, the odds he actually remembers them goes up dramatically.
You got a real good point there, Steve. You really
Shut
do.
Up. No, this was a really fun. I was going to do this with. It's so much fun to do. I love this Warlord trait. Giving an infantry unit infiltrate, scout, or counterattack. Even counterattack's not bad. I should point out, counterattack's great.
It's phenomenal if you have any actual combat units.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Remember your fire drakes that you cough borrowed from the salamanders are now Alpha Legions. And they're infantry. Exactly. How do you like scouting fire drakes? Yeah, you didn't think of that, did you? How do you like scouting what's the word bearer's stupid unit?
Galvorbach. How
do you like scouting Galvorbach? How do you like scouting how do you like counterattack Deathwing? Oh no, your Deathwing Knights probably need scout more because they need movement. Yeah, this is. All
right.
Now there was a debate before I move on. I don't know if this includes their dedicated vehicle. It says friendly units composed entirely of models with the Legion of Stardust special role and infantry. I don't think it includes the dedicated vehicle, right?
Well, if the unit has the rule and they have a dedicated transport, the transport has the rule.
Okay, so that's even. So the sexy.
I think they get it. I think they get it.
Best character ever. I'm totally not biased.
No,
best character.
Not even remotely, but okay.
Weapon Master, when attacking during the assault phase, he may choose to split his attacks between any of the weapons he has, declare which attacks he's used. So it's just basic Weapon Master is he splits his attacks between the weapons. And you have to choose this before his attacks or rolls. So the weapons listed are power weapons. It's the Prince and the Prophet. So the Prince. The Prince is Strength user, so Strength 4, AP 3, melee, rending 6 up.
Power sword.
It's a power sword.
Yeah.
The Prophet is Strength 9, AP 2, melee, unwieldy, Thunder Strike. The Thunder Strike is what makes this kind of weird. If an enemy model that does not have the vehicle unit subtype suffers 1 or more hits, regardless of whether those hits result in wounds from the Prince, then Armillus Dynat may make 1 attack with the Prophet in addition to any other attacks he made with the weapon in Initiative Step 1. So you can toss in some attacks with the Power Sword, and then bop them with the Thunder Hammer. It's a stronger Thunder Hammer, I think, right? Strength 9.
Yeah, because normal Thunder Hammer is just double your strength.
Oh, but it's not concussive or brutal, so
no.
But so yeah, you just bop them with the Prophet with 1 attack.
Makes Sons of Horus cry because it's still doubling them out.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it does. And it's Precision Strike's 4 up. I should point out. I don't think you want to put him in a challenge. Have someone else assess the challenge, and what you could do is you could remember Precision Strike into the challenge or into anyone you want, and then the Prophet, if you roll that 50-54 up, you just bop someone with the Prophet, which I want to say is a Thunder Hammer. I got to look at the model. It is a Thunder Hammer. Okay, it is.
Okay,
it's a fancy Thunder Hammer. So yeah, he's got Precision Strikes. So you roll with the Power Sword, you hit something. Hopefully, this is assuming you hit something, and then you get 1 attack with the Thunder Hammer. Or you just throw all your attacks with Thunder Hammers and hope and pray. He's just he's solid character.
Yeah, the way you're going to split the attacks depends on what you're facing. If you're facing things where an AP3 is good enough, okay, yeah, you're not going to be wounding on 2s, but you don't mind throwing a few Prince strikes at them if they're in normal Space Marine armor. They're 3-up save. So that way, maybe I'll split it to be... How many attacks is he normally?
4. He might be 5. Hold on.
He's 4. I looked at he's 4.
But specialist. He's got a bolt pistol and the Prince Prophet are not specialist. So 5.
Okay, so he's got 5. Okay, so he's 5 attack space. Let's not think about the charge for a second. So 5 attack space. If he's 5 attack base, I don't mind doing again, if it's not Terminator units, I don't mind doing 2 at, AP3 and then 3 of them for the profit for essentially a special Thunderhammer. Because 1, on 2 swings, I should get the extra. So now I'm on 4. And also, it can be very useful to kind of get a few strikes in before. Because the other weapon is unwieldy. So there might be a problem if you have to wait for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So he is good. He is not the end all be all that Dan said, but that's because Dan started building the army, so he gets a really into certain things.
Yes, I did build this army.
All right. And when I spoke before, I said it was the only one character in the book. I forgot that Exodus was here. He wasn't in my notes. I have it reversed.
Everyone
He's
forgets
so
Exodus
secret.
is here.
You know, he's so secret. You don't even know. That's the thing, Dave.
Apparently not. But my notes were the other way. So even though we went out of order of the book, just for my own sanity sake of editing, we go in the order that my notes are, whatever that may be. But Steve wanted to talk about Exodus, the assassin, the one who is many. Who is this guy? Tell me all about him.
I wish I could tell you. All we know is that he's 165 points.
Okay.
He has move 7, weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 6, so that's 2s with a reroll for 6s, strength 4 and toughness 4, 3 wounds, 5 initiative, 3 attacks, 9 leadership, and a 3-up save. We know he carries a bolt pistol, power dagger, a tool called the Instrument. He wears power armor and a refractor field. He carries but a single venom sphere, melt-a-bombs, frag crack grenades, and shroud bombs. He's some
Here's
sort
the
of...
way to get shroud bombs.
Well, you say that. But
He can't go in them, can
he
he?
can only join recon squads, and they already have them. Or headhunters, actually. So yeah, he can join them.
Okay.
That's another way to
There we
get
go.
headhunters some. We know he's an Alpha Legionnaire. He's an independent character. He is relentless. He's a Pathfinder that, for anyone who doesn't come across it often, is ignore dangerous terrain tests, or auto-pass dangerous terrain. He has move through cover, so he's not slowed down by difficult terrain. He has a rule called the Hidden Hand. He's a lone killer. He's shrouded 5 up, and he has the Assassin's Eye, but most interestingly, he is not unique.
No, he's not. Well, his name is the one who is many, so...
This absolutely. So yeah, I thought I'd point
Is
that
it
out.
one Exodus?
So this is the
Yes.
Traitor Legion with no Traitor Warlord traits. The one Legion whose Primarch is not bound to a side, and they have a character that's not unique. These guys are wild, man.
I love him.
So let's get into some of these rules. They're fun. So we got Lone Killer. Exodus can never be the compulsory HQ. Only non-compulsory HQs. He can never be the Warlord and may not join any units except recon squads and headhunter kill teams. The Assassin's Eye. When he makes a shooting attack, the range is not restricted or affected by night fighting rules, shroud bombs, or any other special rule. In addition, if he takes penalties to his BS from night fighting or special rules, always makes the hit rolls with his full skill, and including snapshots, by the way, and no mom may take shrouded rolls to negate wounds inflicted by the attacks. He shoot good, essentially.
Pretty much.
He has the Hidden Hand. When deploying this guy into the battlefield, you can place him in any position as long as he's within area terrain, or at least 9 away from enemy models if he's not within area terrain, regardless of line of sight or proximity of enemy models. If he's deployed from reserve after the first turn, managed from any battlefield edge chosen by the controlling player. If he joins a unit during deployment, he does not get the special rule, but instead gets Scout and Infiltrate, but only if that unit has those rules. This is, I think, verbatim the same rule that one Raven Guard character had. You know the one, the more attack guy.
Pretty much, yeah. It might have been a little bit different, but it's pretty close to it. While you talk about it, I'll pull up the Raven Guard guy.
And I believe that debate returns of can he deploy into close combat or not?
No, he can't.
No, that's ridiculous. If Dan says it's ridiculous, that tells you all you need to know. Oh, that guy was in
the legend. No,
he wasn't in the main book, was he?
No, he was
on
Legends.
Legends.
Oh,
Or Legacies.
All right.
Talk about this instrument, Steve.
this warrior. The instrument.
The amazing shot.
It's an auto weapon for rules that affect it. It has 2 profiles. You pick which time you fire it. Any reaction shots must be the rapid shot profile. Rapid shot, range 24, strength, a casual 7, AP, a measly 2, assault only 3. It's only got Sunder and Pinning. Jesus. And then it's got execution shot, which has a 72-inch range. Strength 7, AP 1, just in case 2 wasn't cutting it for you. Heavy 1, sniper, sunder, pinning, deadly aim. If you have not moved, you give it brutal 2. Oh my god.
Yep. The kill shot, baby.
Oh my
That is the kill
god.
shot. I love both profiles, by the way. The sniper profile is your normal, I pick out the sergeant, maybe give it brutal 2. Now you don't have a sergeant or apothecary. You still get your feel no pains because it's not strength 8, but kind of cool. But rapid shot's still scary. Strength 7 AP 2 with pinning, assault 3. Yeesh.
For the Raven Guard, the Moratat, yes, he has essentially the same rule. His ballistic skill is what he wants it to be at all times.
Oh, I was talking about the hidden hand rule.
Oh yeah, hidden. Oh, sorry. Yeah, his the hidden hand. Oh, let me see if that one's
That's the deployment
same.
one.
I know that one's the same one. Oh, Bestial Stalker. Yes, he has the same one. So they are very, very similar, except their weapons are different.
Yeah, one
Otherwise,
guy's
they even
got his
have the
Ruby
ill
2d6
omen.
shooters. One's got the sniper rifle from hell.
Yes, they're very,
Too
very
bad you
similar.
can't take unique characters. You can't steal unique characters for Alpha G,
Well,
because I would love to
there's a
steal
reason
that
why they don't
Moratat.
let you do that.
Although, wait, you can ally him in. Fuck, screw it. Ally
That's
him in,
right.
and now you have the duo.
I mean, if Exodus wasn't Alpha Legion, you could make him Alpha Legion. But he's already Alpha Legion, so he is Alpha Legion.
Yeah. I did actually. I'm pretty sure when I played someone with Alpha Legion, this is the guy they were running, because I remember him going through it. Because obviously at the time I didn't have this book. I didn't have it all in front of me. He's like, yeah, this guy shows up where he wants. He can shoot however he wants, and you can't do anything about it. I was like, cool. And then he killed my library. I'm pretty sure it was my librarian, like the first shot. And then afterwards, he had him in a bad spot, so I was able to kill him. But the guy did a lot of good. He is a scary guy. Pretty sure this was the guy I was going against.
No, just overall fun. You know what he reminds me of? He's like the
The
oh
Raven Guard
god,
guy. We already talked about
no,
this.
no, 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 no.
No, he
40K
is.
assassin. Vindicare. He reminds
Yeah.
me of the Vindicar assassin.
Oh, he absolutely.
Yeah,
He essentially is. Really, when you look at what he does.
so cool, so damn cool.
Yeah. All right. Um, if we have nothing further on him, we have one more character left. Autilon Skorr. That's what I'm gonna say his name is. So this guy is 125 points. He's a Consul Delgatus of the Alpha Legion. That is his
The
role.
original Delegatus, as a matter of fact.
Look at that.
Rules-wise.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, he was a Forge World exclusive, like event exclusive model.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Oh, shit,
so they came out with this guy, and they're like, okay, so he's like, here on behalf of Alpharia, so he gets, the command, so he gets to be Master of the Legion, but in smaller arenas of battle. And they said, hey, that's a cool rule. Let's make a generic version of it. They did the same thing with Narek Drager, the Iron Warrior, and the Legion Praevian.
Okay, that's really cool.
So there is a model. You just can't buy it.
I would say, so it's cool they did it, but then if you can't get it, I hate that. I hate
That's why he's in
exclusive type
Legacies.
stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they just didn't put it back out again. Yeah, honestly, overall, I really don't like when they do that sort of thing. I think it's very counterproductive. Like, it's cool if you happen to be in it at the time, but if you're not, then you lose out. And I think that's a really bad feeling. All right. Yeah, because they have the other ones. All right, let's talk about this guy. So he has a Centurion stat line. That's not surprising, since essentially it's talking about him being like a Delgatus. So you're doing something over there, Dan. I can hear you.
Sorry, no, sorry. Yeah.
That's all right. He's got a bolt pistol, rhyme shard, which we'll go through what that is. Artificer armor, Francrack grenades. He got a refractor field. So, like I said, similar to what a Centurion has. Some of those pieces. He has, of course, some special weapon, which we'll go through. He is unique. Not surprised. He's an independent character, but he's also Master of the Legion. He has Honor of the Legion, and he has his own Warlord trait. And he is a traitor. So this is like the first character we looked at that actually defines the role. If he's your Warlord, he gets Desperate for Glory. And what it says is, on game turn 1, Skorr has Feel No Pain 6 up, increases the 5 up in turn 2, and 4 up for game 3, and so on for the rest of the battle. So he gets Feel No Pain better and better up to a 4 up. In addition, the controlling player of any army with Autilon Skorr as its Warlord may select one phase at the start of the battle before any models are deployed into the battlefield. During the chosen phase of their opponent's turn, his and any unit he has joined may make a reaction without expending any of the army's reaction allotment, as long as he's not been removed as a casualty. So it's nice. It's a little less forgiving as some of the other ones, but essentially his unit will get one extra reaction per round, but you have to pick before the game starts what phase you want it in. His Honor of the Legion. Once per battle, at the start of any of the controlling player's turns, this rule can be activated. Once it's activated, take a leadership test for using the leadership characteristic of 10. If passed, then all friendly units that are pinned or falling back and have at least one model that can see him immediately rally and are no longer pinned or falling back and act normal. Is that a normal Delgadus thing? Or no?
Yes.
Right now.
Okay,
The
I don't run them,
has
so I didn't know.
has a once per game unpin everyone within a certain range and line of sight. Range? I forget.
It's called Rally the Legion. I got that part.
Okay.
Let me see if I could find it real quick.
I have it here.
all right.
So how is it different? You do take a leadership test for the model. So notice his says you take it on 10, and he is only leadership 9. So essentially, a normal Delgadus makes the roll on a 9. He makes his on a 10. And then otherwise, it's identical. So he essentially just gets it a little bit better. And for his weapon, Rimshard, it's a power weapon, strength +1, AP 2, melee, unwieldy, and mastercrafted. So overall for
it's a
someone,
mastercrafted power axe.
yeah, for someone who is at 125 points at a reasonably low points cost for essentially a Delgadus, that's actually really good, because a normal power axe would be more, and or not as much, but I don't know how much it would be to mastercraft. Can they mastercraft it? No, they can't.
Nope.
Yeah, they're the ones
so
who
a
cannot.
Delgadus is like a 15-point upgrade. The power axe is another 10 points. There's 25.
No, 15.
No?
15 for a power weapon.
Oh, really? Ooh.
Yeah, on a Centurion.
You can tell
They're more expensive. All their stuff's expensive.
I run my guys so stock it's not even funny. But they're
Yeah.
also all going to die in battle anyway, so why bother outfitting them?
Oh, jeez.
Iron Warrior.
Yeah,
Spoken like a true Iron
Delgadus is
Like,
Delgadus is
either
35
they have
points.
a chainsword and bolt pistol, or they have a thunder hammer. I don't have any in betweens in my armies. But okay.
So essentially, compared to base Delgadus, the base Delgadus with at least a power axe, everything else would be fine. Just based on that would be 110. So this guy's 15 extra points for getting himself Feel No Pain if he's your Warlord, getting a little bit better of the unpinning people. Yeah. And I guess just fitting your Legion. So
dope.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones where it's like it's there. It's cooler than the generic, but it's not like game breakingly like, oh my god, why did you not take him? And I appreciate that in a named character.
Yeah. And he's honestly probably right about the points, because if you add it in for the Master Crafted, that's probably worth 10 or 11, 10, 15 points, somewhere in that sort of range. So he's honestly costed identical to what you would put his role at if he didn't have a special name.
Yup.
So I like him. Some of the other ones are more fun because they're more interesting, but he's just a good all-around character.
One thing he can't do.
What can he do?
He can't take a Venom Sphere because he's unique.
No, he does not get a Venom Sphere.
Oh, what a loss. Man.
Hey,
that
freebie.
sucks.
Hey, that's worth 10 points. That would have made up the rest of the points this guy is. So he's the only character with that one. I guess that's what happens when you get put in a special book. All right. That gets us through everything for Alpha Legion. So, in these final thoughts, I also want us to mention for Words of Treachery, what unit is it that we want to be taking with? So, Dan, these were your legion for a short time while they were in the mail, and then they stopped being yours. But still, tell us your thoughts.
You want me to start with the choice of squad or
Oh, I
overall?
don't care which way you start.
Well, let's start with overall
Music
thoughts
looks
for
fun to
me.
me too.
Overall thoughts that this is why I chose them. This is why I bought them. I don't regret selling them, but I also like if I want to start a legion, this is probably still going to be my number one. They're as tricky as can be. I like their playstyle a lot. I mean, people probably already guessed this from listening to the podcast. My playstyle is very much.
Pull back from the mic.
My playstyle is very much shock and awe, kind of. I play ogres, I play mechanicum, big models, I play custodians, big models. I play very much shock and awe. Or I used to play white scars, which also used to be, moving around, shock and awe. This is very much different to the playstyle I'm used to, and I like it. It's very much tricksy. I love their advanced reaction so much. You can be so troll with it. I love their special units. The Lernaean Terminators are great. The Headhunters are great, especially when we talk about the Rights of War later. And I love their special characters. Their special characters are not overpowered. They're not, you're not bad for not taking them, but they're also good if you take them. And if I chose a unit, oh man, and it's one unit.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want to
Rewards of
now.
Treachery gives
Yeah,
you
no, I
one
know it's
unit.
just so fucking
Yeah.
hard.
And what I
Okay.
will say is, we're picking one, and this is going to be our own personal thought. It might not be the best
Yeah.
unit overall to do this with, but it's like the unit that comes to mind that you're like, you know what? These guys
Yeah.
might be interesting doing this.
The first two that came to mind, or the first three, I guess, were always it was a melee unit. So it was between Fire Drakes, the Cenobium, or oh god, I can't remember the hell that it was a World Eaters unit, the crazy Terminator melee unit.
Red Butchers?
Red Butchers, yes. It was between those three. And honestly, because again, these guys, they're very tricky. They got a lot of shooting shenanigans they can do. But they're kind of lacking in the first punch melee unit. And so I would love to like stick a unit of, let's say, Red Butchers in there. If you shoot them, then they port forward 12 inches, possibly. Or you put a unit of Fire Drakes in there, and now they port forward 12 inches. It's just, it's nuts. And then stick a guy with Shroud Bombs in there. And now you're minus 8 inches to shoot them.
Yeah.
It's they're just overall such a cool legion to play. And the fact that they can steal a non-unique unit from someone, it opens up so many stupid levels of things you can do. It's not even funny.
All right, Steve, thoughts as well as a unit choice.
Their their units just build so well into that idea of the assassination strike. They are what the firing wishes they were.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. I'm sorry to all my Dark
No.
Angels people out there, but
It's 100% true.
yeah, Alpha Legion do it better. The Headhunters are just phenomenal. I don't think I leave home without them if I ran Alpha Legion. I really don't, because they just have everything. Like, they actually have everything. They have tank hunting with the multi-melt if they need a tank hunt. If not, great, you're going to cap someone's Warlord turn one with it. Their characters are cool. Exodus is nuts.
Yes.
And even beyond all their specialist stuff, I mean, there's still Space Marines that you're running. They just happen to be a little bit sneakier. So in a one-on-one fight, you're probably going to lose, but that's not why you're playing Alpha Legion. You don't play those one-on-one fights.
Yeah, you cheat.
Oh yeah. As for what units I take, for just pure brutality, I'm really, really thinking about those damn Ultramarine squads.
Suzerains. That's exactly who I pulled up.
Either
That's who I was going
Suzerains
with. Yep.
or the Terminators, the Fulmintaris Terminators. Those are also nuts because stupid AP2 brutal 2 missiles. Get out of here. But yeah. Listen, if someone had to steal my Iron Havocs, my Siege Tyrants, I'd rather it was the Alpha Legion than the Ultramarines.
Yeah.
And Iron Hat, not Iron. What was the really good heavy support special squad?
Oh,
The Sun
Star.
Killers. Sun Killers might
Yes.
be an
Yep, Sun
interesting pick
Killers.
too. See, Dan's like, I need close combat units. I'm like, what's like insane ranged firepower I could add to this for the long range battle? Because
Yep.
And that's what I like about this.
short to
Yeah.
medium range, Alpha Legion has it down pat, and they have a really great sniper option in the Exodus, but they
But notice
don't
how like
have like built-in long range combat, and that's what I'm
Very
like.
true.
How do I add more of that?
exactly. I was gonna say, notice how we're both completely different and they both work. That's what I like about
Yup.
Alpha Legion. Literally, you could add anything you want from anyone and it works.
So what I would picture is take a bunch of generic units for the close combat fighting, steel units for long range fighting, and slip in the true Alpha Legion guys like in the middle to just pick out targets.
I like that. Okay.
So, um, one, I think these guys overall have a very nice paint scheme. I think you can go for very simple with some like, sort of teals and all those sorts of colors, or I mean, there's a lot of people out there now who make color shifting paint. Vallejo has aligned. They call it the shifters. There's a variety of other ones out there.
There's
I
Turbo
think.
Dork, some guys around me
Yep.
use.
Yep.
Or
Turbo
Even
even
Dork
some of
has
the like
their
craft
Casinos.
line.
sword paints have decent color shift. You have to build it up
Yes.
over a few layers, but you could absolutely like go to Michael's and find them.
Yep.
I use Green Stuff
Scale has a
Studios.
line.
Yep.
There's a lot of people who have it, so I think these guys work perfectly into that sort of shifting color. So one, I think they just look good overall. Two, they they don't have a lot in terms of units, and that includes characters, but the ones they have are very, very flavorful, more so than some of these other legions we've seen, where it kind of feels like, oh, it's this guy with a little bit of a change. Like even their headhunters, okay, they kind of look like seekers, but they give them enough variety that they feel like they can do a lot. Overall, I really do like them. I think they have a very nice legion trait. Again, it's one you're going to have to remember constantly because your opponent is going to forget. And you are probably going to forget the first few games when you're measuring a range, and it turns out you really shouldn't have been able to hit because you were just at the line of it. So if you're playing these guys, write it on an index card and put it in your wherever you're rolling your dice, so that we always remember when they're about to do something to you. Oh wait, no, oh yeah, no, you missed it. You're too far away or something. Because it's super easy to forget. In that game I played against the guy, I'm not sure either of us remembered, other than a few random increments, that was the case. Because it's a super easy rule to forget. Um, for what I would pick, honestly, I was going back and forth. If you want close combat, I like the suzerains. If you don't want close combat, I want sun killers. Because to me, those are sort of best of the both worlds. So I would pick one or the other depending on the build out. I do agree with Steve though. This army feels like it can handle the closer range easier than the far because they don't have that good dedicated long. So I might lean more heavily into the long range. This is also a great legion if you have an ally or want an ally, because one of the warlord traits uses allies, but also two, you could just be playing with the special unit of your ally while you build up the rest of the army to give it something that you can do more with. You could start with like the fun unit. So now these guys are quite good. It took us a while to get to this point. Took us a very good long time, but that does mean we actually now have went over every single legion. We still have a couple rights of war to
Woo!
do. I know, right? It's a project, and we had this. I've mentioned this before. So one comment wise, especially on the YouTube, if you have thoughts of other things you want to hear, obviously leave comments. We're always interested to see what people want us to talk about. We'd like to start doing some more just like normal conversations here and there. We'd like to talk about maybe, I know you two went to an event, talk about that kind of stuff. Other pieces about it. I know there's been at least a request at minimum to talk about some Lords of War and stuff. So I know some people want to hear just more thoughts about units. We will do more of that, but I think we want to kind of talk about some other stuff for a moment, at least a little, but we'll see. But if you have thoughts about what you want to hear about, let us know. Now, the rest of the Rights of War, the hope is that they will be out, shortly after this, at least, I don't know, a few days or by early next week of time of recording. Um, But we'll see. But the hope is to kind of finish that out. That it's all said and done, we can take a collective breath, and then figure out what we want to do from here. Maybe we'll get into talking about those Primarchs, because I want to tier them. I want to decide who is the best, because I think that sounds fun and it will be divisive, and I love that. I want a choice that's going to make Dan angry for where we put someone. I don't know who it'll be, but someone somewhere.
As long as we all collectively agree, Dorn goes up. Actually, no, sorry. I was gonna say Dorn goes on the bottom, but that's not true. It's actually
it's not.
Lorgar that goes on the bottom, and then Dorn right above him, but only barely.
I want to do that. I do want to kind of rank legions. I want to do it in two different ways, or kind of have it be a 50-50 split of, are they cool or not, and are they good or not? Because those are two very different things. Some of these legions are really neat, and the things that they put in there do not excite us, as you can tell. So I'd like to do some of that, because I think that's just fun, and it leads to interesting conversations of people telling us we're wrong, and that's fine. You are allowed to disagree with us. I think it's great when people do. Anything else further on these guys then for the moment, gentlemen?
Check under your bed at night to make sure that the Alpha Legion aren't hiding out.
They're everywhere, apparently.
Also, if you can elect the Space Marines, congratulations on your new Alpha Legion army.
Yeah, that was always the sort of thing, like, you can just call anyone Alpha Legion because, like, hey, they're undercover. Yeah, they look like these guys. And they do stuff like that. Absolutely, it's a real thing. They also, I would say, out of the box, they're not bad out of the box. This is a legion that doesn't require a lot of super special types of guys. Headhunters, you could kind of try to make some of them out of the box, but you could start with some basic stuff and get some distance. Unlike some of these legions that really want jump packs or bikes or any of that. These guys they want dudes. That's what they really want. So, all right. I think that will end it for us tonight on the Alpha Legion. All right, and that'll do it for us tonight. As always, I do want to thank everyone who does listen. Remember, we're available on any podcatcher that you use, and we also put up these videos all on YouTube. In particular, right now, our Rights of War YouTube exclusives. When this is all done and I actually have some free time, whenever that may occur, I'd like to put something out on for the pod apps as well, but we're going to see how exactly that works out. Remember, it does really help us for any likes and subscribes, those sort of things. We have had great growth, honestly, overall, and it really does help us do a lot. If you do have any questions, obviously you can always leave comments there. We do look through them. I try to look through them as often as I can. Sometimes I only get to a few times a week, but I try to get to them very often. The other two guys do look them over as well. You can also always send an email to us. It's terrainkickersnj@gmail.com. And the hope is that soon we're going to have some other platforms for this as well, like trying to put together a Facebook / those sort of accounts that Dan's going to handle, because he's enjoys doing that stuff. I don't really do a whole lot of social media, but we want to be able to do that, open up our Discord, a few other options, because there has been some requests, and I think it's just, a nice and fun thing to be able to do to interact with people. I really liked using that. So we are getting there. Part of it just depends on, a lot of it is my free time, which this weekend is a little bit rough, but I would like to get a few of those things put together to be able to launching that sort of stuff next week. All right. I think I've gone on long enough for this. So, on behalf of everyone here at the show, have some good hobbying and some great gaming.